Why people secretly admire your silence. The power of Stoic restraint. We live in a world that never stops talking, where noise fills every corner of our existence, and words are thrown around carelessly with little regard for their meaning or impact. But what if I told you that the most powerful thing you could do in this chaotic world is to embrace silence? Not the silence of someone who has nothing to say, but the silence of someone who chooses carefully when to speak and when to hold back. This is the kind of silence that makes people stop and take notice, the kind that commands respect and admiration without uttering a single word. Today I'll reveal to you why your silence holds more power than you ever imagined. I'll show you 8 remarkable ways that people secretly admire your restraint, and I'll give you 4 Stoic strategies to master the art of meaningful silence that transforms how others perceive and respect you. Let's dive into number 1 without further delay. Your silence demonstrates emotional mastery. The Stoics believed that true strength comes from controlling our impulses and reactions, not from broadcasting every thought and feeling that crosses our minds. Marcus Aurelius once wrote that the ability to stay silent in the face of provocation is one of the highest forms of self-discipline. When you choose silence, you're showing the world that you're not controlled by your emotions, but rather that you control them. In our modern age, where everyone feels compelled to share their opinions on every matter, your silence stands out like a lighthouse in the storm. People notice when you don't react immediately to provocations, when you don't feel the need to defend yourself against every criticism, when you can sit comfortably without filling every pause with nervous chatter. This restraint signals to others that you possess something rare and valuable: emotional intelligence and self-control. Those around you may not say it openly, but they admire this quality deeply. They see someone who isn't desperate for validation, someone who doesn't need constant affirmation from others to feel secure in themselves. Your silence becomes a mirror that reflects back their own insecurities about needing to be heard and seen constantly. And in that reflection, they find something to admire. Second, people respect that you're actually listening. Stoic philosophy teaches us that wisdom comes not from speaking, but from observing and understanding. Epictetus famously said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." When you embrace silence, you give yourself the gift of truly hearing what others are saying, not just waiting for your turn to talk, but genuinely absorbing and processing their words in a world where most conversations are just 2 people taking turns to monologue. Your willingness to listen becomes extraordinary. People feel it when someone is truly present with them, when someone cares more about understanding than about being understood. This creates a magnetic quality that draws others to you. They feel valued in your presence because you're giving them something increasingly rare: your full attention. Your silence in these moments isn't emptiness, it's fullness. It's the space where real connection happens, where trust is built, where people feel safe enough to reveal their authentic selves, and they admire you for creating that space, even if they can't quite articulate why they feel so comfortable opening up to you. Number 3. Your silence protects you from unnecessary conflicts. The Stoics understood that most battles aren't worth fighting, that engaging with every provocation only depletes your energy and distracts you from what truly matters. Seneca advised that the best response to foolishness is often no response at all. When you remain silent in the face of drama, gossip, or attempts to draw you into conflict, you demonstrate a wisdom that others secretly wish they possessed. Think about how many problems in life are created or escalated by words spoken in haste, by reactions driven by ego, by the need to have the last word. When you resist this temptation, you avoid countless complications that plague those who can't control their tongues. People notice this. Even your critics and antagonists notice it. And while they may never admit it, they respect you for it. Your silence in these situations isn't weakness, as some might initially think it's strength of the highest order. It takes far more courage and discipline to walk away from a fight than to engage in one, to let an insult pass unanswered, to refuse to participate in destructive conversations. This restraint keeps you above the chaos, while others exhaust themselves in pointless battles. You preserve your peace and energy for what truly matters. Fourth, you create an aura of mystery and depth. Stoicism teaches that we shouldn't seek attention or validation from external sources, but rather find contentment in our own virtue and character when you're not constantly explaining yourself, sharing every detail of your life, or seeking approval through words. You naturally become more intriguing to others. There's a depth to you that can't be quickly assessed or easily categorized in an age of oversharing, where people broadcast their every meal, thought and feeling. Your selective sharing creates a powerful contrast. You become like a book that can't be judged by its cover, that requires actual engagement to understand. People are drawn to this mystery. They want to know more about the person who doesn't feel compelled to reveal everything, who seems comfortable with being partially unknown. This doesn't mean being deliberately secretive or manipulative. It means having healthy boundaries about what you share, and with whom. It means understanding that your inner world is precious and not everyone deserves access to it. People admire this quality because deep down they know they've given too much of themselves away too freely, and they see in your restraint a model of self-respect they wish they could emulate. Fifth, your words carry more weight when you do speak. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius practiced carefully considering whether his words would add value before speaking. This discrimination between useful speech and mere noise is a lost art in modern times. When you're known as someone who doesn't speak unnecessarily, people pay attention when you do open your mouth. Your words aren't diluted by constant chatter. They aren't devalued by overuse. Imagine two people, one who comments on everything, who always has an opinion, who fills every silence with words, and another who speaks rarely. But when they do, their words are thoughtful, measured, and meaningful. Which person's opinion would you value more? Whose advice would you seek? Whose endorsement would mean something? The answer is obvious, and people recognize this dynamic, even if unconsciously. Your silence makes your speech valuable. It's simple: economics, supply, and demand. When you don't flood the market with words, the ones you do offer become precious commodities. People lean in when you speak. They remember what you say. They attribute greater wisdom to your words because they know those words have been filtered through reflection rather than blurted out impulsively. Number 6, you demonstrate that you don't need external validation. Stoicism fundamentally teaches self-sufficiency and finding value from within rather than seeking it from others. When you're comfortable with silence, when you don't feel compelled to fill every moment with self-promotion or justification, you signal to the world that you don't need their constant approval to feel worthwhile. This independence is deeply attractive and admirable. Most people are trapped in a cycle of seeking validation through words, through explaining themselves, through making sure everyone knows their accomplishments and perspectives. They're exhausting themselves trying to control how others perceive them. When you step out of this cycle, when you're content to let your actions speak for themselves and let others think what they will, you demonstrate a freedom that others envy. This doesn't mean you don't care what anyone thinks. It means you don't depend on others' opinions for your sense of self-worth. There's a profound difference. People sense this difference. They recognize that your silence comes from a place of security rather than insecurity. And they admire the strength that represents even those who might initially mistake your silence for aloofness, eventually recognize the quiet confidence beneath it. 7th, you avoid the traps of gossip and negativity. Epictetus warned against unnecessary speech, particularly speech that involves judging or discussing others. When you practice silence, especially around gossip, drama, and negative talk about absent people, you maintain an integrity that others notice and respect. Even those who participate in such conversations recognize on some level that It's beneath them, and they admire those who refuse to engage. Gossip and negative talk are social currencies. In many environments, people bond over shared criticism of others, over discussing others' failures and flaws. When you don't participate in this, you set yourself apart. You signal that you have better things to discuss, better ways to connect with people than through tearing others down. This creates a reputation for trustworthiness because people know that if you don't gossip about others to them, you probably don't gossip about them to others. Your silence in these situations also protects you from the karmic consequences of negative speech. You avoid making enemies. You avoid the guilt that comes from speaking unkindly about others. You avoid the energy drain of focusing on what's wrong with people rather than what's right. People may not thank you explicitly for this, but they trust you more. They feel safer around you, and they admire your ability to rise above the pettiness that they themselves struggle to resist. Eighth, your silence reveals your priorities and discipline. The Stoics believed that how we spend our time and energy reveals our true values. When you choose silence over constant communication, you demonstrate that you have priorities beyond social performance. You show that you value depth over breadth, quality over quantity, meaningful connection over superficial interaction in practical terms. This might mean you're not constantly on your phone, you're not immediately responding to every message, you're not available for every social gathering, you're not participating in every online discussion. People notice this. And while some might interpret it as standoffishness, most recognize it as discipline, as someone who guards their time and energy carefully and directs it toward what matters most to them. This disciplined approach to communication and social interaction suggests that you have a rich inner life, that you have pursuits and interests that don't require an audience, that you're building something, whether that's a skill, a business, a creative project, or simply a well-lived life that demands your focus. People admire this because most people struggle with distraction and scattered energy. They see in your selective silence someone who has figured out what matters and has the discipline to protect it. Now let's explore the 4 Stoic strategies you can use to master meaningful silence and earn the deep respect that comes with it. Strategy number 1. Practice the pause before responding. Following the Stoic principle of considered action, train yourself to pause before speaking when someone asks you a question. When you feel the urge to comment when you're provoked or criticized, create space between stimulus and response. Even just 3 seconds of silence before you speak can transform the quality of your communication. This pause serves multiple purposes. It prevents reactive speech driven by emotion rather than reason. It gives you time to consider whether your words will add value. It demonstrates to others that you take communication seriously, and it often makes your eventual response more thoughtful and impactful. Practice this in low-stakes situations first. When someone greets you and asks how you are, pause before giving the automatic response. When someone shares news, pause to truly absorb it before reacting, as this becomes habitual. You'll find that many things you would have said impulsively simply don't need to be said at all. And the things you do say carry more weight and wisdom. Strategy number 2. Set clear boundaries about your availability, following the Stoic values of self-discipline and prioritization. Establish and communicate clear boundaries about when and how you're available for communication. This might mean designated times when you check messages rather than being constantly available. It might mean saying no to social invitations that don't serve your priorities. It might mean being clear that certain topics or types of conversation don't interest you. These boundaries protect your silence and solitude. They create space for reflection, for deep work, for meaningful engagement with ideas and people that matter most to you. When you respect these boundaries yourself, others will learn to respect them too. You don't need to be apologetic about these boundaries. Simply be clear and consistent. If someone messages you during your designated quiet time, respond when it fits your schedule, not immediately. Explain once, if necessary, that you check messages at certain times and stick to this practice. People will adjust their expectations, and many will secretly admire your discipline even if they can't implement it themselves. Strategy number 3. Cultivate comfortable silence in relationships, following the Stoic idea that true friendship is based on virtue and mutual growth. Not constant entertainment work on becoming comfortable with silence in your relationships. Not every moment needs to be filled with words. Not every silence is awkward unless you make it so. Practice being with people, whether friends, family, or romantic partners, without the pressure to constantly talk. Go for walks where you simply enjoy the environment together. Sit in the same room, pursuing separate activities. Work on projects side by side without constant conversation. This builds a different kind of intimacy, one based on comfortable presence rather than performance, when you demonstrate that you don't need constant verbal interaction to enjoy someone's company. You deepen your relationships. You create space for the kind of silence where real thoughts can surface, where deeper conversations can emerge organically, where people feel they can be themselves rather than constantly entertaining you. Strategy number 4. Develop the discipline to withhold opinions, following the Stoic principle of focusing only on what's within your control and what truly matters. Practice the discipline of not sharing every opinion you have on every topic. This is perhaps the most challenging strategy because our egos love to demonstrate how smart we are, how informed we are, how right our perspectives are. But the truth is, most situations don't require your input. Most discussions will proceed fine without your contribution. Most debates won't be resolved by your brilliant argument. Learning to recognize when your words will truly add value versus when you're just feeding your ego is a crucial distinction. Start by observing conversations and asking yourself before jumping in, is what I'm about to say helpful or necessary? Will it move the conversation forward, or am I just proving I have something to say? If you can't answer yes to these questions, practice staying silent. You'll be amazed at how many words you save, how much energy you preserve, and how much more people value the opinions you do choose to share. In conclusion, according to Stoic wisdom, silence is not the absence of something, but the presence of something profound. It's the presence of self-control, wisdom, priorities, and inner richness. The world needs fewer words and more meaning, fewer reactions and more reflection, fewer voices clamoring for attention, and more people comfortable in the power of restraint. Your silence, when practiced with intention and wisdom, becomes one of your greatest assets. It commands respect, creates depth, protects your energy, and allows your actions and carefully chosen words to carry maximum impact. So embrace the power of silence, not as withdrawal from the world, but as engaged presence in it on your own terms. We've reached the end of this journey, and I sincerely hope these insights will transform how you think about communication and silence. Don't forget that you are a crucial part of this channel. So if this video has helped you, made you think, or you've learned something, give it a thumbs up so that more people can discover the powers of Stoic wisdom. And if you haven't already, don't forget to check out our ebook about Stoicism and how to apply it in your own life. Subscribe for a daily dose of Stoic wisdom and growth.